Hey guys, how's it going? This is Coach Garcia. We're going to go and work the Linear 1 test review. We will not have time to work the entire thing, but I'll try to work as many problems as I can, try to work through the most important problems. And so that way that you're at least better prepared for the test when it comes tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and start. I have a green sheet right here just so that I can work some of these problems because some of these boxes are a little small for me. So we're going to go ahead and start with number 1A. Start with 1A, which is 6x plus 14 minus 3x plus 10 equal to 15. Alright, so no matter who your Algebra 1 teacher is, you guys should be drawing that line straight down your equal sign. Again, just because your equal sign isn't always in the middle of the graph, and then just try to keep that equal sign on that line. Alright, one thing that we can do with this problem here is we can go ahead and combine like terms. Like terms are terms that are the same. So for example here, this 6x and the negative 3x. Remember that the signs stick to these terms, so that minus sign sticks to the 3, it becomes a negative 3. I can actually put these two things together, which is called combining like terms. I like to show that by just drawing a line like, hey, I'm about to add these things together. I don't have to do plus 3 since it's already on the same side. I don't have to create a zero pair. They're already on the same side. I can just add them together. So this is just 6 plus negative 3, which is going to give me 3x. Similarly, I can do the same thing with the other two terms, which is going to be the 14 and the 10. Those are also like terms. They're both just regular old numbers. And I can put those two together. 14 plus 10 is going to give me 24. So if I put those together, I have 3x plus 24 equals 15. I can box in this 3x. What you would want to do is you would almost want to label one side variables, one side numbers, and that way you know what you're trying to keep on each side. That helps you isolate your variable a little bit better. So if I want to keep my variables here, I want to box in that 3x. That means that I want to get rid of everything else on this side of the equal sign that's not a variable. In this case, it's going to be the 24. The way that we get rid of the 24 and move it to the other side across the equal sign is we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to subtract 24. Oops, 24. If we subtract 24 from 24, that gives us our zero pair. And really a zero pair is just 0, it goes away. If I do it to one side, I also have to do it to the other side, so we have to subtract 24. 15 minus 24 is going to give me negative 9. I'm going to go ahead and scoot this down. And then my 3x is going to just come down for the ride. I always like to say to my students, if you don't use something, just keep bringing it down, keep bringing it down, keep bringing it down. For example, this 15, all we did was just bring it down in that step. So 3x comes down, so now we have 3x over here. And now the last two terms that we have are 3x and equals negative 9, which again, that means that my variables are in fact on that side, my numbers are in fact on that side. The last step is always going to be to divide. Divide by our coefficient, or in other words, the number in front of our x. And we only need the number. You don't have to write 3x down here, 3x down here. It's just divided by 3, divided by 3. What ends up happening is 3 divided by 3 becomes 1. Technically, this is going to be 1x, but in algebra, you're just going to see x equal to, and then negative 9 divided by 3 is going to give me negative 3. And so there is my first answer. We can go to work 1C. Work C. This problem is 2x plus 3 equals 14. Or sorry, 2 parentheses x plus 3 equals 14. So with this problem, the very first thing that we have to do is we have to go ahead and try to see if we can get rid of our parentheses. So again, I even kind of consider this a pre-step. Drawing that line down my equal sign is kind of like a pre-step. Now what I want to do is I want to distribute. I'm going to go ahead and multiply the 2 times the x. And I love multiplying letters times numbers because all you do is just stick them together. So 2 times x is going to just give me 2x. 2 times the 3. 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. So I'm just going to say plus 6. Once the 2 gets distributed, it goes away. I'm left with just 2x plus 6 equal to, and then this is kind of like, you'll see me do this quite a bit. If I don't use something, I'm just going to bring it down. Same thing as before, I can label this variables. I can label this my numbers. Again, that tells me what I want to keep on that side. So on the variable side, I want to keep the 2x. So that's going to stay. In fact, I like to put it in a box. I need to get rid of this right here, that plus 6. So I'm going to do the opposite sign. Again, anytime that you're trying to move something in algebra, move it from one side to the other side, you want to do the opposite sign. So if it's plus 6, we're going to do minus 6. If this was a minus 6, I would do plus 6. I always want to do that so that I can create, once again, I won't write this every time, but you want to create a 0 pair. Again, 0 pair just means that it's going to become 0. This is going to be minus 6. So now on this side we have 14 minus 6. That is going to give me 8 equal to, and then I never touch this 2x, so it's going to come straight down. So now my last step is 2x equals 8. And then again, to get x completely by itself, I need to divide by the coefficient of 2. So again, that becomes 1. On this side we're left with just x. It becomes a 1. Try not to slash it out. It becomes a 1 technically. 1x. And then on this side we have 8 divided by 2, which again you just type into your calculator. Make sure that you type the 8 first, or you can hit alpha y equals and then just type it in exactly how you see it. And that's going to become 4. We could jump down to, let's do E. So part E. Again, I said I wasn't going to work the entire thing or all of the problems. So I want to give you guys some problems that you can maybe try to do your own steps on and see if you guys can solve it. They should be very, very similar to the ones that I'm working. So we're going to go ahead and do E. Problem E says 2x minus 3 plus 9 equals 12x, 12 plus x. Alright, so again, our pre-step, and this should be common to you by now, is that we draw that line down that equal sign, again separating our two sides. That looks kind of more like an underline. Let me make that into a minus. And again, try to keep your work nice, neat, and organized, and that's really, really going to help you if you're having trouble with solving so far. Alright, so anytime that I have more than one term on one side, I want to make sure that I can't combine like terms. So for example, over here I have 3 different terms. The way that I can tell that I have 3 different terms is they're always separated by pluses and minuses. So there's 1 minus, there's 1 plus. Right, so if I have these two things, that means that that is a term, this is a term, and then that is a term as well. Right, so I have 3 different terms separated by pluses and minuses. So since I have 3 different things here, I want to see what I can combine. I have a 2x, a negative 3, and a plus 9. This negative 3, remember that the signs stick to them. Negative 3 and the plus 9, those are the same, and they're on the same side. That's important. Make sure that if you're going to combine your like terms, make sure that they're also on the same side. Since they're on the same side, I can actually put these together. Negative 3 plus the 9 is going to give me just 6. Remember that if they're on the same side, all I do is just simply type them into my calculator or do them in my head. I don't have to do the whole plus 3 because they're already on the same side. When you do the plus 3, it moves it to the other side, which is not what we're trying to do. Alright, so I put these both together and I get 6. Everything else is going to come down. I like to do just one step at a time. Okay, it helps you stay organized. I know it's a little bit more work, but in the long run it's going to help you guys out a lot if you just do one step at a time. Alright, so we combine our like terms. And now we're kind of stuck because we have an x and a number, and then a number and an x on the other side. Right, so what we still want to do is we still want to label one side variables, and it doesn't matter. I just like to put variables on this side, numbers on that side, just for simplicity, but you can very easily write variables over here, numbers over here. So we're going to write variables and numbers. Of course, you can shorthand that to just V and numbers. Variables and numbers. So again, I want that 2x to stay, so I can go ahead and cover that up. Now, how do I get rid of the plus 6? I'm going to do minus 6. I'm going to line it up also with 12 because that's the other number on the other side. Subtract 6, subtract 6. Again, this creates my 0 pair. 12 minus 6 is going to give me 6. Everything else is going to come down. Equal signs aren't looking very pretty today. Alright, so we get to there. So again, variables, and I have a 2x left on this side. So my variable side is done. That side is exactly what I want. Now I go on to the other side. On the other side, I want my numbers, so this time it's a little bit different. If I'm looking for my numbers to stay, I have to cover up to 6. That is not a number. Plus x is not a number, so I want to get that to the variable side where it belongs, where it needs to be. Right, so this plus x, I'm going to go ahead and subtract x. And this kind of throws students off sometimes whenever we're dealing with just x. What you can do, and you'll never see it in algebra, but what you can do is you can write a 1 in front of this, because technically this is 1x. And so technically what we're doing is we're subtracting 1x, and that's going to help you, again, just a little bit whenever you're solving problems like this. So plus 1x technically, and then minus 1x technically. So again, if I do it to one side of the equal sign, I have to do it to the other. So this is going to be minus 1x. So again, the positive 1x and the negative 1x, those are going to cancel. Also, make sure that you guys write the x. I know that a lot of students just put minus 1, and then that's where you make mistakes because you don't line them up or you don't put them where they need to go. Make sure that you are including the x. Right? So positive 1x and negative 1x, right, cancel out. You want to think about these kind of like, you know, positive 1 boy plus negative 1 boy cancels out. That's just part of it. So this is going to it's going to be a 0 pair. We go over to this side. 2 minus 1 is going to give me 1x equal to, and then this is going to come down 6. And technically your last step is still to divide. You would still divide by 1, divide by 1. Here's the reason why you maybe don't want to do that. Anything divided by 1 is going to stay the same. 1 divided by 1 turns into a big 1. Big surprise there. X is going to come down equal to, and then we have 6 divided by 1, which is just going to be 6. So there's my answer. Also make sure, just for your teachers, make sure that after you finish your question that you're boxing in your answer or circling it or drawing stars around it or something, highlighting it, just so that they know where the end of your work is. And so they can, as they follow through your work, they know, hey, there's what they got for their final answer. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and stop about here. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can make, this is going to be kind of in parts just because of the way YouTube works. So this is going to be part 1. I don't know how many parts we'll do, but we'll do a few more parts, get through a little bit more of the review.